What up, YouTube? This is Bear, officially this thing. By the way, this is probably controversial. By the way, I probably don't care. This is Fingernail, which is his operational name, radio handle. Some of y'all will know him from Patreon, which, you know, people say all the time, oh, you keep pumping Patreon. You know why? Because on Patreon, I get to actually become friends with people.
That's right.
God forbid that we would know people and enjoy their company. You know what I mean? So, yeah, because there's just a deeper relationship that happens there. Well, that's all a cool story, T. Let's talk about prepping for martial law. What should I do? The first thing I would do is, if there's martial law, is do this. Ah! And just run away. That's pretty much my red cut. End of video. No, not. Maybe.
Keep going.
Should we do this?
Yeah, all right.
They look better now? Anyway, let's...
tactical.
Knife hand. All right. We actually just kind of touched on this in the last video we did. Cities and coastlines versus wilderness and countryside, the population density equation. I have notes for this. So in martial law, if there's a martial law situation, and let's say I'm in charge of imposing martial law, do I want to dedicate my time, resources, energy, my manpower to taking this county that has 800 people in it, or that city that has 800,000 people in it? What's a better use of my time? Probably the city. Now people will say, well, they're going to control the countryside because that's where the resources come from. Perhaps, eventually, maybe. Do you know how difficult it would be to coordinate an actual productive offensive out here? It's real easy. Remember that guy when they were looking for the Boston bomber and they were going door to door?
Yeah.
And they found him pretty quick?
Right.
You know why? All the houses are this close together. That's why. You can't do that around here. You might get a well-trained... Sorry, got a call from a guy about a thing. It's OPSEC. You don't get to know. That bear, he's so egotistical. I can't stand him. Business is business, man. It's just...
That's right.
People think this is my business. And you've been here for 24 hours. I think you may have noticed by now this is not my business. Right. This is my hobby. So, anyway.
And anyone who is against OPSEC, please submit your social security number, credit card number, and all of that, since nobody should have secrets.
That's a good idea. I like the credit card part.
Yeah.
That's good. So, the population density equation, right? They're going to start in the cities first. So, if you're in the city, probably not a good place to be for all the reasons, but one of which being the whole martial law thing. Like, not great. I have here in my notes, play nice or get out fast. So you can either play nice or leave right now. Right now. So if you stay, you're looking at curfews, restrictions on your movement, restriction on your civil liberties. It's oftentimes in martial law, they suspend habeas corpus. So that's an issue.
And forget Second Amendment or keeping firearms in martial law.
Yep.
That goes fast. Look at Katrina. Look at these other instances. That's gone.
So, martial law is the imposition of direct control over normal civilian functions of government used in response to a temporary emergency, an invasion, or major disaster, or in an occupied territory. I got the best notes. You have curfews, suspension of civil law, of civil rights, individual freedoms, habeas corpus, as we said, and the application of military law to civilians, meaning that you're dealing with either a court-martial or a military tribunal, no longer civil law under martial law. And there's gonna be 1,000 comments that go, "You're wrong, Bear. You don't get it. You don't understand." Cool story, bro. Shoot a video. So that could never happen here. Hawaii after Pearl Harbor, New Orleans after the Battle of New Orleans, the Great Chicago Fire, the San Francisco earthquake of 1906, the Illinois Mormon War, the Utah War. Oh yeah, that's where it was okay to kill a certain subset of human beings here in the United States. Yeah, by legislature. That could never it has. The 1934 West Coast waterfront strike. And in reaction to mobs of protesters, the Freedom Riders, which was during the civil rights. Okay, so the difference here between martial law and a state of emergency is in a state of emergency, Congress has emergency powers. They can call forth the militia to execute laws. Execute, is that a good word to use on YouTube? Can we say that?
I don't think we can say that.
To enforce laws, impose, there we go.
Yeah.
Suppress an insurrection or repel an invasion. So this is Congress calling forth the militia to impose laws, suppress an insurrection, or repel an invasion. A state of emergency can also suspend habeas corpus in case of rebellion or when public safety requires it. So when the government says, hey, this is bad, how about we just lock all these people up and we'll prove that they're bad guys later? That's not cool. Which is why I believe that you should be wildly independent of the system to the best of your ability, so that when Todd shows up from the local Bureau of Government Waste, you can be like, cool story, Todd. We have these things. You're trespassing. You should leave. Now's a good idea. Stay on that side of the gate, okay? So, felony charges may be brought without a grand jury indictment in cases arising in the militia.
Can you say that word?
Yeah, you can say militia.
Ooh,
in fact,
okay.
if you put it in the title of the video, you'll get a whole bunch of hits.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, and also Minuteman. I have, like, everything's gonna be Minuteman now. Like this is my Minuteman cup, and this is my Minuteman hat, and those are my Minuteman sheep over there, and this is my Minuteman buddy fingernail, and everything's Minuteman, because if you put Minuteman in the title or in the tags, it just explodes.
Yeah.
Like, these are my Minuteman shades. These
Minuteman Bear Independent hoodie.
Yeah, at minutemanteespring.com/Minuteman
right.
Bear Independent.
Right.
And all these Minuteman pine trees that we have, everything's Minuteman. So if you put Minuteman in the thing, I noticed this. I told my wife about it. I was like, we're just going to have Minuteman toddlers and Minuteman baby chickens. Like,
yes.
Everything's Minuteman.
You've already got the militia chickens, so.
There's a contraction in there that needs to happen, like chickalisha or
Yes.
Malikins. Malikins?
We'll work on that one.
Yeah, okay. We'll workshop that.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, we need a whiteboard. Branding sucks on these chickens.
Right.
Okay. So like FDE, like what color? We spray paint them multicam?
Can do that.
I'd never find them out here.
No, that's true.
Until they back. Okay. So this is actually interesting because felony charges may be brought without grand jury indictment in cases arising in the militia that has been called up by the congressional powers. The militia gets called up, but then let's say you transgress something, which is what something, who knows. Felony charges can be brought against the militia while during public danger or war. During public danger or war, if the militia is called up, you can have felony charges brought against you without a grand jury indictment, meaning that we're going to put you on trial for murder. I didn't murder anybody. Well, normally you need a grand jury to say, yeah, that was murder, send him to trial. Nope, don't need that anymore. So, and this is state of emergency that we're talking about now. And then a state of emergency can also be used, imagine this, to engage in war without congressional approval. Who would have thought?
Wow.
Yeah. Or, if needed, in the case of imminent danger. Which, again, who determines what imminent danger is? So, martial law. Don't be where it is. A lot of y'all got kind of PO'd about my How to Survive a Civil War video. Step 1, don't be where the Civil War is.
Right.
That was clickbait, and a lot of people fell for it.
But thanks for the hits, guys.
Yeah, I mean, don't be where it. How do you survive anything? If there's a problem here, be here. If there's a problem here, be here. If there's a problem both places, go over there. Like, that's, if you can't win the fight, don't engage. That's, it's a pretty big concept.
Right.
But, if there's martial law, don't be where the martial law is. There's a strong possibility that food and supplies will be confiscated. Second Amendment rights, like you said, suspended, weapons confiscated. That happened after Katrina, like you pointed out. And that's legit. That happened. So, which we'll talk about FEMA in a minute. Land and resources can be turned into federal property by decree. We're taking this. curfews, which we talked about, rationing of food and water, social pressure. People like, if you think I'm suspicious, I'm gonna go report bear.
This sounds like red flag laws.
Kind-ish, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think you can say that on the internet. Anyway,
Best content ever.
but think about this too, like, oh, thank you, sir. We'll put it on this way. Internet access, right? Shut that down.
Oh, yeah.
You know a thing or two about that kind of thing.
I do.
Forkliftoperatorsunion.com.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
Check
what I
it
mean.
out.
If you drive the forklift into the internet box, like you did that one time, then the internet stops working.
This is true.
Yeah, yeah. And also, like, if you shut down the internet, right? Goodbye freedom of press. Goodbye most people's commo plan. Like, it's gone. Same thing, you control the cell towers, right? Or annex the cell towers or whatever. Yeah, it's not good. So let's see. What should you do? You could have caches, which when you say cache, you put the pinky up, okay? You could say cache, but when you have caches of material outside of your AO, your area of operations, so that if the martial law is here, you go that way. Your spider points, because you do have a place to go to, right? You know, and you know where you're going. You know how long it takes for you to get there, and the people there know that you're coming, right? You figured all this out. You had these tough conversations already. Good job. Cache material in between you and them. Ideally, in spider points, if you're here, have stuff all around you to the best of your ability. And there are people right now that are going, but Bear, I don't have the money, I don't have the time, you don't get it.
Bull.
Make your actions match your ambitions. Period, the end. It's just that simple. It's not easy, but it is simple. Like, oh, I want to survive the end of the world. You see where I live. Probably got a better shot of it here than North Dallas where I was. So it can be done. So you should have stuff in spider points all around your location that if it's to the south of you, you go north. If it's to the east of you, you go west, so forth, so on, right? You should leave ASAP right now. If they start rolling the MRAPs down your street, now's not the time to sit around and talk about whether or not we should leave. Go, go, go. If somebody on Facebook was like, MRAPs are rolling in and they're shutting down the north side of town. Bye. Later, bro. I'm out. I'm not staying to see how this shapes out. And I would rather be the guy that left and everybody's like, oh, bro, you bugged out, man. Nothing happened. Cool. Cool. Because you stayed. What if? You're dead. And if you haven't had any, or not dead, but, you know, less than ideal. But if you haven't had any false starts yet already, if bugging out is your plan, and if you haven't had a moment where you're like, I'm gone, I'm leaving right now, you're not paying close enough attention, and you're not taking this thing seriously enough. And then that gets into, you know, stay out of the way of law enforcement and military. And if you're law enforcement or military, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I'd make damn sure it's constitutional. I'd make damn sure it's constitutional.
You took an oath.
You took an oath, amen. So, yeah. To defend the Constitution, not your commanding officer. So, things to think about. You should monitor commo. You have a PACE plan, right? Primary, alternate, contingency, emergency. You monitor your primary. You intermittently monitor your alternate, meaning maybe your primary is your cell phone, your alternate's a ham radio. Okay, well, if things are getting sideways, turn the ham radio on. Okay? So monitor your channels, whatever your channels are, you know. Maybe you know the local sheriff's department, you know what their freak is, and you got it programmed in your radio. Cool. Pay attention. And in some cases, according to my commo guys who are way better at this than I am, a lot of these jurisdictions are no longer using just the traditional radio frequencies. They've been digitized.
They're going to the Mars system.
Right. And so, but the backup, their backup freaks are traditional.
Right.
Right. And so you may still gain some intel from monitoring. Whatever you can monitor, monitor. Plug into your network. Put your ear to the ground. Talk to your buddies. Hey, man, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? And, you know, your tribe, your mag, your team, be in contact. Activate your people that if you need to go, hey man, we're going. Now's the time to go. We're not going to stand around and talk. Well, Jerry thinks we should stay. Jerry, you're fired. We're going.
Go.
Like, we're going. I would much rather be wrong, and Jerry gets to go, ha, man, I told you. Cool, Jerry. I'll buy you a beer for a month. Don't care. Then stay here and find out I was right, Jerry's wrong, and now we're in a really piss poor position. So, at your cachet, food, water, shelter, basics for your bug out bag, replenishment. That'd be batteries, maybe more camo, maybe more freedom seeds, maybe things like that. Clothes, weapons if needed, maybe web gear. I mean, you can go out from here, but at a minimum, replenishment of food, water, maybe camo, maybe batteries, maybe ammunition, maybe
Toilet paper.
Yeah, sanitation's a good point.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Having your maps and your compi ready to go.
Right.
Compi is important because
Redundancy.
2 is 1, 1 is none. So
right, that's
compi,
right.
At least a half a dozen compi about your person, wherever you can like fit them in, having a compi, and then yeah. So let's talk about FEMA again real quick. I've worked for FEMA, and we were talking about this earlier.
Right.
Earlier, that's the word, right?
Earlier.
Yeah, Australia. I've had people tell me, there's just no way you've worked for all those different people. Yes, there is. Here it is. So maybe there's not a way for you to have done that, but I have, and it's just a part of my truth. It's who I am. So I've worked for FEMA. They're not terribly good at their job. They're kind of a blunt force instrument. They're a slow, inaccurate sledgehammer, not a tack hammer, is my experience. But that being said, you don't want to get hit by a slow, inaccurate sledgehammer. Prior to 9/11, FEMA was its own thing. After 9/11, it fell under DHS authority.
Right.
Okay, so now you're talking about the Department of Homeland Security runs FEMA. And yeah, so civil defense is no longer a thing. That's run through DHS as well at the cabinet level.
Right.
So the orchestration and organization of civil defense is now run at the cabinet level by DHS. So that's, it's become very centralized. It's in the executive office of the president. So with a spoken word or the stroke of a pen, things can start happening. And FEMA has, without getting into the Walmarts that are death camps and all of that, we'll just talk on this level, on the observable level of me and my experience. They have a lot of authority. When they get pushed, when you push play on FEMA, they have a lot of authority. Oh, yeah. And now they're backed wholeheartedly by DHS. And DHS kind of has the run of the show here on, CONUS. Right. Like, if it's within our borders, who does it fall to? So that's a big deal. You do not want to, I don't think you want to be put in a position where you have to play FEMA's games.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're surrendering what you have to them. You're surrendering your ability to carry and respond with lethal force, because you have to turn that over. You're surrendering your autonomy. You're now part of their system. You're surrendering to whatever medical that they deem that you need. You need this shot, bro. Here's a shot. Well, what was in it? Doesn't matter. Here's this shot. Food.
Your food is our food now.
That's exactly. So. Yeah. Food, water, shelter. Thanks for the donation. Go over here. Go sleep in the dome. The dome leaks. You'll be fine. It's fine. Oh, here's a trailer. It's filled with asbestos or whatever, right?
Right. Oh, yeah.
And truthfully, part of that is because they're such a large blunt instrument. I do think a lot of those people have the best of intentions, but I met truck drivers after Katrina that there was one truck stop, and this is just one example, just showing kind of the ineptitude of something on this scale, right? There was one truck stop that had 1,000 trucks at it. Each truck was being paid $1,000 a day to sit, to wait to be dispatched. 1,000 times 1,000 is $1 million. They'd been there for a month. That's $30 million. They were all carrying fresh food to be distributed to the victims of Hurricane Katrina.
Right.
It had all spoiled a month ago. And so they couldn't offload. The place smelled horrendous. They couldn't offload their load because they were locked with DHS padlocks. You couldn't open them. And they were getting paid to sit there. Well, one guy had $2 million worth of rotting chicken breasts in the back of his truck. I mean, it's horrendous. And the next word that they were going to get was where they were going to deploy to with the rotten food that they had that was now no longer useful. That's not a system that I want to play in. And then I also get these comments too. I can't believe you worked for them. I tried to fix a lot of that crap. Okay, so thanks. Cool. Judge not lest ye be judged.
Oh, that's real.
Sorry, bro. Or make a video about it, honestly, because I'm just so tired of people just taking pot shots from the sidelines. Scavenger of human sorrow.
It's coming.
Yeah, scavenger. Big words, small mind. Behind the pain, you'll find a scavenger of human sorrow. The band, Death. It's a metal band. Great song. So, surviving martial law. What should I do? Simmer down. Not be where it is. Be prepared. Do all of the things. Population density will work against you. It's just unequivocal. It's one of my truths that I speak constantly. You don't want to be where all the people are. You also don't want to be where none of the people are. That's a problem. But I'd rather have 10 people within a square mile than 10,000 or 100,000 or 10 million. You know, I don't think there are 10 million anywhere within a square mile, but
Downtown LA.
Maybe.
Question mark.
Question mark, maybe. But I'd rather play the population density equation out of 10 people in a square mile than, which is actually, yeah, that's pretty much like our property. So, yeah, 10 in a square mile works. 1,000 in this area would be horrendous.
Right.
All competing over the same limited resources. And, you know, either you leave ASAP, get out of the way of it, or you have to play within it. You will have curfews. You will probably have your civil rights taken away from you. You will probably be infringed, bro. At some point, somebody's gonna step on your toes. Whether that's just theoretically or it's an actuality. Hey man, glad you stored up all this food. Everybody's in town is starving. And it could be as simple as this. We're taking your food because everybody else is starving. Okay, well, if you're around everybody else, now you've subjected yourself to that possibility. Or we're worried about you. You don't seem to be playing along. You're not such a nice guy. We're going to take all your weapons. Or we're going to surround you or whatever. So it's just a different ball game out here for me.
Right.
And people ask me, do you really believe that? I'm betting my life on it. I'll put it to you that way. This is not a hobby to us. This is a way of life to us. And so when it comes to martial law, it's like anything else, man. General preparedness addresses a whole host of issues across the board. And one of them is, what do we do about martial law? Hell, for me, it'll be just just another Tuesday. Feed the sheep. Right. Shoot some videos, hang out with my friends. Like that's what I'll be doing. And I have that ability because of the action that I've taken now to remove myself from the situation that not if, but when the system goes sideways, one less thing I have to worry about. Now, if it ever comes to the countryside, then what? Play nice or get out of the way, man. I got 3 options. Don't play at all, play nice, or fight back. And I'll say we'll just figure that out when the time comes. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Yeah. Cool.
And I would say if your first plan is to get out, to bug out, have you practiced it?
Mm-hmm.
Have you said, it's time to go, and got out? Just to see how you do. You'll quickly find if there's holes in your plan if you practice it. So don't say, well, if the balloon goes up, we're going to jump in the car and we're going to go. Cool story, bro. Have you practiced it? Have you tried it?
What are you, a Marine or something?
Yeah.
You forgot how to knife hand. Knife hand!
Knife hand.
Shalom!
See ya.
Nice.